Stack-up supply crates are care packages filled with cutting-edge gaming and geek goodness delivered to veterans deployed to combat zones, humanitarian missions, peacekeeping operations, or even bases stateside in support of family readiness missions.
What you do for troops is incredible. We loved everything. We cannot wait to try out all those games. We were shocked to see the note inside the lid saying that we haven't received everything. We cannot imagine what else you could possibly send.
With our supply crates, we're hoping to change how deployed service members feel while they're deployed. Instead of just focusing on how many days they have left in theater, we want them thinking about setting up like a Madden or Call of Duty tournament with their battle buddies.
I want to thank you guys so much for the massive supply crate we received. I don't know what I expected when I applied, but never expected all of this. I love that the t-shirts can be worn under our uniforms, and I don't think the game magazines were in the office more than a few minutes before they were spoken for.
And it's not just about having fun. Medical studies are really starting to show video gaming is helping veterans deal with post-traumatic stress disorder, combat tremors, depression, even help with pain relief itself. Our supply crates allow all of these benefits to be sent downrange to troops, and they don't even know the hidden benefits behind them. So if you or someone you know is interested in receiving one of our supply crates, simply head over to stack-up.org and follow the instructions on how you can request one.
Well, I've made a few adjustments, and hopefully this is a tiny little bit better than that intro video. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, welcome to Push to Talk, your premier EVE adjacent talk show. It is Saturday, the 24th of February, and I believe this is both the final weekend of the current drops for EVE Online, as well as I believe the final weekend for our our kind of, was it channel, what the fuck are we doing? Yes, the charity drive. Sorry,
a charity drive.
I didn't have my notes. Well, no, I didn't have my notes.
Struggling with your words there.
I was like, what's it called? Stack up, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a drop going on at the minute for a Gamma Arcombine skin. These skins are kind of cool. They're related to the EVE Vanguard First Strike event. I don't know if it's all EVE streams or just EVE Vanguard streams, but I seem to be ticking up on my drops just by being on the show. So, from here, it seems like CCP haven't quite established EVE Vanguard as a category yet. And yeah, our charity drive with StackUp, which is a charity that supports veterans and their families through games and other like little bits of cool stuff around the gaming world, is going on through the end of the month. So the next 5 days?
I think it's
Thursday. Thursday, yeah, Thursday's the 29th. So if you are interested in donating, we do have the Stack Up thing in Twitch chat that King Wolf has just used, and it's got a link to our donor drive there.
I just kind of realized that the Discord kind of bubbles doesn't seeming to be working for some strange random reason. But I'm sure you guys know. I'm sure you guys, know our voices at this point in time, and I'm fairly certain you guys know that was Dirk.
Yeah, if you don't, well, sorry, we've been having some technical difficulties.
I was just
Cloud is hosting our stream today. Eric is off flying the Millennium Falcon.
Crazy.
He's having a lot of fun.
I'm not sure he was the one flying the Millennium Falcon.
Well, yeah, we were kind of wondering about this ourselves.
He's Chewbacca, yes, clearly.
There was some. I was definitely wondering about who was who, right? See if I can. I'm gonna see if I can get some of the pictures in. But yeah.
given that he's out on
Yep.
on Scythe's stag do, it makes sense to allow Scythe to
I mean, that would
become
make
the
sense,
pilot.
right?
God knows he won't be allowed to pilot anything else in his life in a few months.
Oh God, yeah.
Scythe, we love you, buddy. So yeah, we've got an interesting show today. We had Dawn here in the pre-show, and she seems to have taken a walk somewhere else. But we are joined by Bard Ghost as well. For once, Bard Ghost, you finally
My
managed to
God.
drag yourself onto a show live.
Yeah, basically, I'm just here because I was talking to Soft. I think that's it.
Blame
I
me.
don't know why else.
You didn't realize the time, and suddenly you were roped into a show. Fantastic.
Well, you know the conversation just before I genuinely didn't know the time, and I went,
Yeah,
it can't be start time. Yeah, Eric isn't here. Not realizing.
Oh Jesus! Right, let's see if we can show you some of these photos from where where Eric is at the moment. So, you know, I believe that would be, you know, parked on Tatooine, right? As a general sort of thing.
Yeah, that's definitely
Mos
Eisley.
Eisley or Mos Eisley, I think, or some other place.
not Mos Espa.
Maybe.
We saw
Maybe.
the Falcon.
There's the improved health
I'd
and
have to go
safety,
back and watch them again.
which is all the cabling above the above the walkway.
Hey, I mean, it at least it's all been
Yeah,
stuck above
inside the
walkway now.
Falcon. Pretty damn cool, I think. Some aspect of I'm not entirely certain. Gun control, some form. And there's Scythe piloting, as it were. Yeah. Some good shit. Having some good fun. And I imagine, like, you know, especially for a Star Wars fan, like if you enjoy that kind of thing, it's just, it puts it at another level when it's physicalized in front of you.
Physicalized, okay.
It is a word.
A word,
Thank you very
but
much,
we'll go with it.
Mr. fucking Thesaurus. Mr. Oxford Dictionary. Yes.
It's a word because McLeod used it, and therefore. But yeah, so Eric decided that they were going to do the experience twice. They waited in line for it the first time, and then they've got a reservation as well, which I think is over by this point.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they are off having some great fun. Dawn, in terms of Commander Starscream asking about Dawn's weekly update. Dawn's weekly update this week is that she's off building her new PC.
And it has RGB.
and Soth is not amused.
It has
So,
RGB
shame.
and
Soth is not
Avena
amused,
and
apparently.
SSD.
Despite being quite hypocritical because he has RGB on the back of his monitor as well.
Well, I have the capability of RGB on the back of
everybody
my monitor.
has the
It is
capability
not
if they
turned on.
purchase RGB strips and basically, you know, put them on the backside of whatever. So, you know.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with Soth. I've advanced beyond the RGB looking anything close to attractive.
I mean, I did point out that my my PC has 6 fans in it, and that's clearly why it goes so fast.
I mean, does it
Yeah. I
Does it
don't
also
think
have go
anyone wanted
faster
to
stripes,
respond to
though?
that.
Oh, well.
No, it's black.
My previous case had
nice.
a Go Faster stripe on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, horrendous.
A wild horrendous appears.
How's the Venator doing?
Ooh, right. I was going to quickly.
Oh.
Oh, that Poor Venator.
Oh, what
Oh
happened?
no.
Oh, you had to disassemble it, of course, in order to do the mod, right?
If I'm gonna do the hanger mod, like everything has to come down because the front half of the main structure, including like the front stand, has to get completely redesigned.
That's pretty harsh.
So,
Okay, so
since I was already had it like a third of the way disassembled to do the lighting,
You might as well. You thought, fuck it, might as well carry on.
I just went through the disassembly. Yeah, I just went through the disassembly phase so that it wasn't sitting there unbalanced and slowly warping.
You
know,
yeah.
Because it's plastic. If
the
one
last thing
side
you
is
want
heavier
is to
than the other,
break a
it'll
piece
slowly
that you have to actually
break.
order from Europe again.
Right. Well, that's just it, right? So like I went to get the instructions for the hanger mod, which like if anybody has not seen this fucking mod, this is an amazing thing.
I can yeah.
I've dropped a link in Twitch chat already.
Oh, did you? Okay, good. This is an amazing mod for this thing. They like the reason Lego designers didn't do the open hanger the first time is because they didn't think they could do it without sacrificing
presumably structural integrity.
Yeah, and yet the way they did this hanger mod actually increases the
that's awesome
stability of the whole thing. Like, yeah, they did a really good job.
Well, leave it to nerds to improve.
Because I was looking like it's got that really
leave it to nerds to improve on the work.
Because the Venice has got like a really thick kind of spine going right through the middle, and like you kind of have to move
right, and so this takes the two top sprues from the front section, right, and basically moves them out to the side, but adds another set of reinforcement underneath it, so it winds up really good. But anyway, so the guy who does this, Forged in Lego, he makes all of his money off of the instructions, not the bricks, unlike Lego, who make money on the bricks.
That's cool.
So the mod is estimated to cost around 100 to 150 in bricks if you go through Rebuildable and all these third-party sites.
Ouch.
But it turns out, of the 359 pieces, 351 of them are what LEGO consider best sellers, which means that they maintain warehouses around the world and it doesn't have to come from Denmark. So 8 of these pieces are coming from Denmark, and the rest are coming from wherever the fuck in the US, because buying the pieces straight from LEGO cost me a third of that.
Damn.
You could have just asked. I could have just driven over there. I'm not joking.
I know you're not joking.
I mean, I swear to God, Arundis, we were in Copenhagen last year. Why couldn't you just have planned this out a bit better so that we could pick it up on the way?
If I'd known about the mod, I totally would have planned this out better. Because the two mods, the lighting kit and the hanger mod, they don't play well together.
Do they not? What a surprise!
I do need to point out here that the Lego is in Billund, which is a few kilometers away from Copenhagen.
Yeah. Mito was going to Legoland afterwards.
Right.
He was.
I do remember that, in fact, because you guys had mentioned it. But so where the power elements, etc., for the lighting kit have to get routed goes right through where the hanger will be. So I have to redesign the lighting routing a bit here.
You're gonna have great fun with that.
I'm gonna have great fun with that. But more importantly, when I do get this finished, which will probably be sometime around the beginning of April, given the lag time between the last 8 pieces.
Which, yeah.
Because it's going to take 28 business days from when I ordered last week.
I mean, this is obviously like April 2026. So.
See,
I know.
see
right?
again. You should have just asked me.
I
could've
know.
sent
Shut
this
up.
to
I
you.
didn't think about it. I didn't think about it. I was just doing the fucking. I'll just buy it. But anyway, so
Here, Horrendous
the
forgets
end.
he has
But the
friends.
end result is going to be
Something. Yeah, it will be.
one of a kind. Like no one else will have this build.
I
So
wonder. I wonder what customs says about Lego pieces being shipped into the US.
as
I
long as
mean,
they're coming from Lego, it's allowed. Otherwise, it's obviously a treaty violation.
I mean, if I take them out of the packaging, I can claim that they are not new.
if it's below a certain value as well, you can just claim that it's gifts of below a certain value.
No, look,
made out of plastic.
Individually wrapped.
It's like
Call it good.
it's like the Leopard 2 or the F-16. You have to get the origin country's permission to resell them.
Yes,
Wait, he's
because
not
Legos
reselling.
because Legos are classified as weapons, as anyone who has ever
This is
stepped on
true.
one can attest to.
Yeah. Probably in the same classification
Yes,
as British
that too.
plugs.
Yes. Which, as we all know, the British plug is the superior electrical delivery design in the world.
Oh,
It's just
come
also
on.
a fucking lethal weapon.
So yeah, the vendor's actually in a slightly more disassembled state than that now. But
I note the
yes, my
ever-present assistant
was
is
once again supervising.
observing the work.
Although the assistant has been told that she cannot come anywhere near this project when I'm working
Oh yeah,
with lighting.
very much so.
Because
like she looks like she's still thinking about how the hell she can push that off the table.
She's definitely contemplating it.
she did manage to knock one of the side cannons off, but I was already in the middle of disassembly, so that's okay.
She just sped it up.
Exactly. Because the lighting kit, right? Like the freaking connectors on that thing on their wide side are maybe 3 millimeters. The wiring is just such an incredibly light gauge. It's insane. And honestly, that's all incredibly frustrating because I have adult-sized human hands
Bit of an issue.
I mean, it's
and
it's
old
tiny,
eyes.
it's tiny LEDs, right? So you're pushing like 2 watts through that.
Right. No, I mean it doesn't need to be heavy-duty wire, but also the other frustrating thing about the lighting kit, which so far I've gotten to, I'm making it work, but um, so apparently the lighting kit insists that you can violate the laws of physics.
How?
Because Lego are designed to fit snugly together, right? And this wants you to route wiring in through the Lego, including between the post and the receiver for the post from one brick to the next, which just makes some of these things want to pop right off because hey, suddenly there's an extra bit of matter in there. Keeping the end caps on the engines was a challenge, but you force it enough, eventually something goes fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing that I've ordered for this, because of course, you know, it's
Pretty
supposed to
badass
be
thing.
like a singular display piece. Right at this point, there's no point not tricking it out just as absolutely as much as I can.
I mean,
the pieces with stickers on them on the build here, which are the fleet circles on the upper rear panels, the um, the grid lines at the back of the hangar, and there's 2 vertical pieces on the absolute stern of the ship. I've actually ordered replacements for those that have the graphics printed directly on them and are a more accurate match to the reds being used on in the actual Legos. So
Okay.
You are definitely making me reconsider if I want to put lighting on my Macarial. Once it gets here.
If it ever gets there.
That's nearly actually done, Soft. It's nearly done.
At this rate, it is literally going to be shipped to me to take to Soft at some point this year.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Of course you want to put lighting on it.
I mean, yeah, but it's kind of 2 solid pieces of 3D printed stuff, so it's gonna be a challenge.
Nah.
Yeah.
It'll be worth it.
Get yourself a
for sure.
Yeah.
Saying that, Soft, don't forget you've still got to paint it.
Hey,
Painting it
you can
is
paint
not
it.
gonna be a big issue.
Okay.
Paint is just applied to the outside. Routing
Yeah.
all the lighting, like, yeah,
Mm.
that's actually gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for reference, Bard. I know you're planning on coming to Prague later in the year,
Mhm.
but I am going to see Soth in May as well, depending upon what you feel like.
I am not going through a Serbian airport with a fucking 50 centimeter long Macarial. Okay?
What is this? It's dildo. Oh.
Fucking hell.
It's dual pronged dildo.
There will be questions for you. Yeah.
Especially with the antenna array.
And the lighting.
Designed to tickle. Is it?
No.
Now
no,
I know.
They'll be like.
I know what the
they'll be like, what is
for.
this? Oh, and they'll be like, oh, it's probably a deal. And it's like, oh no, he's German. It's fine.
Right. Zippo Zap in Twitch chat is asking people is asking us to demonstrate the Macarial to him. We can't do that on Twitch, unfortunately. It violates the terms of user licenses on Twitch.
I will definitely show the Macarial on stream once it is here.
I mean, but don't demonstrate its usage.
He just
please, Sophocil, don't demonstrate its usage though.
Yeah. My concern is I've put the front together and I don't like how it's sitting together.
I mean, it does have a bit of a kind of
basically.
I mean, it's a yeah.
It has a few edges on the front, yeah.
It's not that. It's where we split it.
Uh-huh.
It's not quite lining up right, so I'm like, I might print it out of resin, make sure it's empty. Only issue with resin is it might burst. So I'm like, I don't know what's the best to do. The other thing is if I take a fucking sander to it and just clean up those bits that aren't lining up and fill them with putty.
Yeah,
if you fill them with putty, that'll make it more difficult for Soft to route the lighting.
There is that.
True. The thing is,
what make it more difficult?
Give it to Soth and let him do the putty work.
Really, what you want to do is you want to run all the lighting before you assemble it.
Yeah, kinda. There's not much to assemble though. It's 2 major pieces and the front bit.
Yeah.
So which bits are you going to light up? Do you think? Obviously the engines, right?
I was thinking on the like
down the sort of like the long axis of the ship.
Yeah.
There's if you want to like boot up Eve, there's probably you were going with the Not the
Matt,
Mallet.
I have a
Yeah,
link
well, it's
here.
an Etsy thing, but yeah.
You were going with the green one, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to find where certain people have got models that are less.
I mean,
Jagged.
it looks fairly jagged, like it is from
Like-
Etsy, so you know.
You would.
I'll put it in stuff only.
But yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
double checking stuff. The skin that you're planning is the green one, right?
No,
Do a custom.
I'm
do a custom.
probably going for like black and silver paint job and then blue lighting.
Just
Okay. I'm just sort of quickly browsing
Go
Definitely
for
black and yellow.
the available skins for the Macarial. Just so that we can sort of see about whether or not we can give chat kind of an idea. Of
go full like
what it
Terminator
could look
2000 Naboo Starfighter and literally like code it entirely in Chrome. Yeah, just Chrome the whole
Chrome
thing,
plays that shit.
and then blue.
Well,
Yeah,
I will have to see how well I can actually do the paint job. How intricate I can get with it. I mean, everyone knows I love the Chinese skin for the Macarial that is not available in on
the
TQ.
rest of the world. Yeah,
Or anywhere nowadays.
Hmm.
true.
But I don't think I can pull that off. That's a bit too intricate, I think.
Yeah, there's nothing really in Eve that kind of covers the
Mm.
sort of suggested color scheme.
Which I think makes it cooler, right?
Guys in Twitch chat, I don't think
No, but drops are running, so you are getting.
But the drops are running, and you are
Yeah.
gaining from watching us here at Push to Talk. I've gained 11% in the
See,
last
there we go.
30 minutes, which is
I mean, it's what it is. Like, you know, you can't increase that speed. Like, it is what it is.
yeah, it's a 4-hour.
Yeah, you'll get 2 hours from us, easy. You'll get another hour from Meta Show, which is going to be on today.
The Meta Show.
So there is that.
And then
Yeah, I have had that confirmed by Brisk and Mark that they are going to be on today. So
right,
yeah. So
do we want to talk about some drama?
No.
Do we ever not?
I mean,
do
we want to jump into it, or do we want to lead in with some other stuff?
Are we going to get told we have to shut up about it?
No. I told Varian that we're going to lead with it because they actually have a.
Well, we led with Venator and Star Wars.
If he's watching.
Gonna have to apologize to them about that.
Hey,
well,
look,
I
we always
said we
get into
can
the
lead
part
with
of
it.
the
yeah,
show
that's
a
fair
little
enough.
bit.
on
Yeah,
the
he didn't come on the show,
right?
so you're not leading with it, but we'll put it second. So let's go.
I mean, if you guys had actually been talking about this, I would not have.
Yeah.
Just saying.
You would not have what joined us.
No, I would not have. You know.
Oh, I don't think you
totally
derailed it.
derailed.
Like I love talking Lego and cool shit.
Right, because
Well, we were talking about like the Star Wars trip that Eric and Scythe are on. So that had a very nice kind of segue going into your Venator build. It's good. I liked it. But yes, drama.
Yeah.
What is this drama you speak of, Sothrasil?
Well, it turns out that Varian, who is the team captain for the Hidden Leaf tournament team, had a ticket up about the scamming of their AT ships for over 2 months, and he still didn't get any answer from CCP. CCP came around and said, "Hey, look, this went into the wrong queue, and for some reason, it was handed over multiple times, and like there's a whole story around it, right? Which frankly, smells like bullshit to me. Um, Overall, there's like 3 big threats up.
Yeah, it's funny because
on
they all
Reddit
came
now
like about
it
a day apart
with
of each other. Like Varian was the one who posted the first one,
yeah,
which sounded more along the lines of he was just aggravated by CCP, and the fact that like they just kind of ignored his stuff. Then it was Dreda who posted.
yeah. Although, look,
Oh no,
from what
sorry.
I know, Dreda had actually nothing to do with the AT
Yeah.
team last year.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean he has nothing to do with Jutsu.
It just means that he didn't have anything to do with that particular year's team.
Yes. Which, by the way, I have this information from Varian, who was the team captain, and I think the team captain should know who
I would
is
think so.
involved in his team.
Generally, you would
That sounds silly.
believe that, right? Because I mean, you can be
Usually,
damn
yes.
sure Asher didn't really know who was in our team last year.
Well, I mean, that's a given.
Well, Asha wasn't really team captain.
No,
Ooh,
what I'm
shots
saying
fired.
is like, if Asher was particularly involved last year, then I was completely misled because team captain last year.
Yeah. So
Anyway, that was a joke that apparently went over like a lead balloon. Carry on, Soth.
Right. So, this drama is blowing up even more. But what everyone seems to be missing is that none of this uh player drama matters. What matters is that this could only happen because
Yeah.
CCP fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Their process was not up to the task, and it was only a matter of time for it to go wrong.
Yeah, this was the
I'm
2nd year of CCP doing a similar thing with their process, and the fact that nothing went wrong the first year
yeah.
is just a matter of luck.
yeah, and I think what pretty much everyone wants from CCP is to just admit that the process is lackluster and that they will improve it, right? No one
Well,
is asking them to hand the ships back to Jutsu.
in
Literally
all
no one.
seriousness, I don't even give a shit if they acknowledge that the current process is lackluster. I just want them to change the fucking process. They don't have to come out and give us an apology. They don't have to come out and give us anything that sort of says, "Hey,
Yeah,
we
but
fucked
it
up."
all stemmed from
Right, fine.
it all stemmed from this particular
But
article that CCP released back in the 30th of November last year, right, where they essentially said these are these are the number of alliance ships that each team have won, and this is how it's going to be distributed. Not this is how it has been distributed.
yeah, so
but this is how it's going to be distributed.
right. So let's rewind just a little bit for anybody who is watching the show and hasn't heard us rant about this last year. We did go on a hell of a rant one show in November
Yeah.
following the whole drama thing. But yeah, so what happened is following the end of the AT in August last year, CCP spent a lot of time figuring out price
It took them a
distribution,
while.
apparently. I say this, that's not what happened. But basically, in terms of getting the art team to get new models for shit and getting the game designers to design the stats and everything, it takes a while. It's not a quick process to add new ships to the game, even after all of this time. And so CCP spent a while doing this. Come November, they decided, okay, hey, we can finally hand out all of the prizes to captains. On the day that the prizes were distributed, CCP published the dev blog that Mac has up on the stream right now. basically saying we are going to be distributing the prizes in this way later on today. This article was published just a little bit before downtime on the day. Then the ships and skins that were the prizes for last year's AT were distributed a little bit after downtime on the day. Team captains received, or not just team captains, but the people who were receiving the prizes for their various teams, whether it was team captains, executors, whatever, they got an Eve mail in game. Who the fuck uses Eve mail? I mean, really, but come on. They got an Eve mail at around 2.5 hours after downtime, telling them that their prizes had been distributed by direct deposit into their hangars. In that 2.5 hour period, basically every team and alliance executor or captain who had received prize ships got a scam contract asking, it's basically suggesting that,
It was that. Yes.
pay nothing and you get the ships. So, but in fact, it's reversed.
Yeah.
You get nothing,
and anybody
and you give the
who
ships.
hasn't, who isn't
Now-
like acutely aware of these sorts of contracts, can kind of see that and go, "Oh, okay, I'm paying nothing and I'm getting these ships," and that's like, well, I mean, we've all done it, right? Like, sort of, transferring stuff to alts and that kind of thing. Like,
In the past,
you have that kind of situation.
CCP have done prize
Yeah.
distribution
So
by contract. So it's not like it's out of the realms of precedent that CCP would be doing that. Blah blah blah.
because you also get a receipt,
in all of
right? You also get as a player, you also get to be able to see that contract, completed as a receipt to basically say this has happened, right? Whereas, yeah,
I'm getting there, Mac. I'm giving the history right. So, in all of this, it was one of those odd things where, like, the drama comes elsewhere, but in this whole process of direct deposit, these items just appear in your hangar. CCP just give you them and then walk away and go, hey, yeah, we send an email a couple of hours after they give you them going, yeah, we gave you them. Here's the Eve mail to prove it. Again, who the fuck uses fucking Eve mail? So there is the kind of scenario that sets the scene for the drama, which is that one of the executors who received prizes was scammed because he didn't believe that he had the items in his possession already, and then clicked accept on the scam contract. I'm not sure if I honestly I can't tell if the thread from Advertising Calm is true or if it's just a whole big yet another piece
which
of
one?
Like mythology in the drama.
Oh, okay, from Baltimore. Yeah.
But yeah.
Theoretically.
It's theoretically from Baltimore, but who knows? But yeah, so they get scammed out of these ships. This then becomes a thing in the tournament community because Virian was not originally the captain of the Jutsu.
I have to interject here to just clear something up here. Brisk. I'm not mad about this because Jutsu didn't get their ships, right? I am mad about this because I am also affected by this, as is Dirk, as tournament organizers, right?
Yeah, we've had a fun few months.
Yeah, we are not the ones who hand out the prizes supplied by CCP. CCP do, right? And we want to make sure that the people taking part in our tournament can actually get their prizes, right?
And get their
Without
prizes in a
fearing,
reliable-
without fearing scams. We want them. We want the people who put in the work to actually get the rewards, right? And so we want to fix this process. And I don't care if it's on me or if it's on CCP. It is my tournament, so I want to make sure that it is done in the best way possible. And I don't think directly injecting it into a hangar is the best way to do it. When we have contracts that we could do, we have what's the damn queue called again?
Mm-hmm.
The redeem queue, yes, and I believe there's a third option as well.
Yeah.
Also, the delivery hangar,
Yes, the
which
delivery
you have
hangar.
to actually pull
Exactly.
things out of before you can do anything with those assets.
All three of those are better, right? And it doesn't matter if it worked for literally everybody else. This has only been used in the past 2 ATs, and before that, it was done
a contract.
completely different, right? As Dirk said, it was a contract. So why change the process to something everyone in the tournament scene agrees is worse when there are better options?
This is
I'm gonna
Was
jump in.
was
really
the
thing,
change
right?
in process? Was the change in process something people were told about ahead of time?
No.
That's
Nobody's ever told how they're going to get prizes. Lol. CCP would have to communicate.
I mean, one of the most maddening things is the fact that like CCP released an article that said that these things were going to happen, and then gave a whole bunch of information about how and where and potentially when before the distribution happened. Like, do the distribution, then tell people what has happened. You know, because if you give that kind of information out to people, then yeah, you will get people who will turn around and be like, this has a potential of there's a potential of us being able to scam a bunch of people out of a whole bunch of stuff because they didn't realize. You know, this is one of the reasons why this whole thing kind of came about.
Yeah. CCP did provide a perfect storm of opportunity for scammers to know when these prizes were going to be released and to create the ability to create these contracts ahead of time to then kind of grab people as they logged in, as they're hearing and being pinged by all of their guys that, hey, the prizes have been distributed. You need to get on and like accept our prizes. But you don't need to get on and accept our prizes because they were given by direct deposit. Only, you know, the important information doesn't ever get anywhere when people are just randomly pinging you out of nowhere, which is fun. But yeah, so the thing about this really, and I do feel bad for the Jitsu team. I felt bad since this happened. Like those guys got scammed out of their, you know, hard-won prizes. But at the end of the day, they got shafted. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's easy. It happens. As I've said elsewhere, you know, next year they'll be able to get on. They'll be able to perform again as long as they, you know, keep up with their practice and everything. I expect them to, you know, do quite well in the Anger Games that we have ongoing at the minute. There are still slots open for the Anger Games if you want to sign up with a team. But like, it's Eve. It kind of happened.
Yeah, we're not saying that like we're not saying that
CCP
things shouldn't
really
be transparent.
Could tighten up their process without CCP could tighten up their process up here without making anything worse for them or for anybody else. Because when it comes to it, CCP providing things by direct deposit into people's hangars, they run a script in the database or whatever. That gives CCP theoretically a log of the command that was run and who got what. But as we all know with CCP, the logs show nothing. And it doesn't give the people who receive these items any visibility on when or how or where their prizes are.
Because the thing is, if you're updating the process, right? Typically, when you're updating a process, you're streamlining it either for it to be, you know, this to basically to they did streamline. You either streamline it so it's as good as it was before, but just easier to implement, or you're improving the process or improving some aspect of the process, whether it isn't just speed and ease of use, right? At this point in time, it seems like there is both a negative in terms of, you know, outcome, and ease of use, because like, is it easier to use if it creates this amount of fucking drama and this amount of fucking chaos?
There's another part to it, and that's another change in process, because back in the old 80s, they didn't hand out the ships; they
Yeah.
handed out BPCs.
Blueprints.
Okay, but hang on a second though. My earlier question now has a follow-up. When did this devblog come out? The one that basically told the scammers what they had to do.
It came out the morning of
Yeah.
the delivery. It came out before downtime and before the items were delivered.
So technically, they did tell everyone before the
Yeah.
delivery.
As long as you were
Yes.
reading the dev
Yeah.
blog, yeah.
It wasn't a case of they had privileged information.
They just didn't specifically tell the people who were they did not specifically tell the people who would be receiving delivery.
Well, so I
how
guess
their delivery
I guess
would be arriving.
I guess
before
technically I
telling
guess technically
Well, they
you're in
told
this, they
everybody
did,
at the same
except
time.
they did it via email inside the client, right?
No, because the email didn't arrive until more than 2 hours after the items
Shit.
were
Okay, good point.
delivered. Some CCP employee thought it would be funny to deliver the email at 13:37
Right, okay.
Eve time. Whereas
Wasn't that
the
elite?
whereas the dev blog was published before downtime, and the items were delivered very quickly after downtime. And when I say quote unquote delivered, they were just teleported into people's hands. So it's
the issue.
so it's a really
The thing I think we kind
odd.
of the thing that I think is
It's a huge thing of like CCP don't recognize that their own processes are not processes that the players that are involved in supporting the events that they're trying to put on actually want.
And again, I
It's
need
an
to
easy
reiterate
fucking
here.
fix.
I need to reiterate here. No one is asking for the Jutsu team to get their
No.
ships back.
Not anymore.
because
Right.
because it becomes
Well,
It would be
sounds
nice
like,
if
it sounds like what the ask is, and this is my impression, but correct me if I'm wrong here, Soft. It sounds like what the ask actually is communicate with the tournament organizers and either alliance leads
and the
or team
participators, yes.
captains before deciding on the new process.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yes.
Hey, if they would do that, that would be great.
Because that way everyone's on the same page, and then the transparency post can be made when everything goes out, but everybody knows what they're getting into ahead of time.
That would be
Which
fantastic.
I know is a crazy idea in customer service, but
Yeah.
And the funniest part of this, as somebody who does work in customer support, in my day to day, is the fact that CCP managed to lose Virian's ticket into the wrong ticket queue,
oh, that's normal.
such that he didn't get an answer on the ticket for more than a month.
That's normal.
I mean,
I can't ding CCP for that, given that is pretty typical. So, like,
No, I can ding them for losing
them
in
on
a
their
wrong
standard
queue.
ding them on their standard ticket responses, but that's not like a separate thing. And Brisk is right. This has not happened before. This is a new method of doing things. They've done it once or twice. They haven't had this problem. And so there's going to be hiccups every now and again.
I think one of the things that's kind of getting more lost in the weeds at the moment is we just want CCP to recognize that they are not completely absolved of any kind of fault in any way, shape, or form. That this isn't just two players kind of doing player on player action, whether it's scamming or not. Like, they had a hand in this. they need to understand that that's the case, and that they need to look at their processes and look at the way that they're communicating with people and deal with that.
And Brisk has a very good point there in the chat. It's one thing, you're looking at one system being dealt with by devs and the other being dealt with by GMs, and you really don't want the GMs
That's a
meddling.
fair point, and
so,
I don't disagree with it.
Definitely.
That's demonstrably
No,
wrong,
see,
Brisk.
and-
That's demonstrably
now
wrong,
he's
Brisk.
done
I'm
it.
sorry.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that I kind of agree with Brisk on that one too, because I think that when you're talking about who's to blame, uh, blame is not a constructive move here.
There's no.
This is not about blame. This is about, okay, you've got a process. This is a new process. How do we improve the process?
Exactly.
The hiccup has happened, again, nobody is just nobody is asking.
When am I not
for
being
the shit.
pedantic, Brisk?
Also, being pedantic is our job as tournament organizers, right?
Devil's in the
No.
Yeah.
Being pedantic is your nature as soft missile. Let's just be completely honest there.
But no, right? Okay, yes, it's his nature, but it's also a function that is required for us to deliver an event to a standard that we are happy with. This isn't. We try and make sure that it's not some slapstick shit that we're throwing together, that it is actually run in a fair and reasonable manner, and that everybody gets the same opportunities as part of that.
Yes, and I think a better way
And
to
so
say what
being
Soft
pedantic
was,
is a key part of making sure that we address the details to make it
there
a
you go.
fair playing field.
I think that's the better framing, because pedantic has all sorts of connotations. I think being detail oriented is what you want there, not pedantic. But that's just being pedantic.
That's a fair point. But yeah, so the thing, as Soth has already said, nobody is asking for these guys to get their ships back or anything. Everybody's
Tenarian's got a really good point. I can't tell when the hell I'm talking on stream.
Max broken it. Technical
It shouldn't be
difficulties.
broken.
We're sorry.
I can see
it
working.
Yeah,
Oh, right, yeah, no, the yeah,
It's broken
yeah. That bit is
background.
kind of broken for whatever reason. Just believe, man.
But yeah, so nobody's asking for the ships back or anything anymore. Nobody's asking for them to hand out things or for the GMs to be involved anymore. But we want CCP, the people who actually run the side of the tournaments, and we're primarily talking about the AT. The Anger Games as a secondary function that we're still talking to CCP about. But the point is that they started this new process. It didn't have any issues the first year. It had what has become, a relatively obvious hiccup, as Orendus described it earlier, in the second year. And CCP have said nothing about acknowledging the fact that a hiccup happened and that their processes could improve. CCP have not acknowledged this, and this is this is what we're trying to drive up. This is the whole Jutsu thing is a secondary function of they were the guys who experienced the hiccup. But CCP haven't actually acknowledged that, hey, a hiccup happened and we need to change something so that this doesn't happen again.
Right, but so two things. First, let's keep in mind that you're probably not going to get that kind of acknowledgement while everybody's getting all up in arms. And apparently Brisk says that Swift posted in the thread about it. So.
Swift did post in that thread.
And
he said nothing that changed anything for the process.
Hang on. So there is or isn't acknowledgement of the issue.
But there is acknowledgement that the tickets existed, and there's acknowledgement that the tickets were responded to.
But also, and more importantly, I think Brisk is absolutely right. We want Plex. You send me 5,000 Plex right now, I will get Mac to put the overlay for who's talking back up on the screen at some point in 2020.
So you guys.
Here's a fun fact: we actually asked CCP not to give us Plex and to talk about a different price.
I'm not asking CCP to give us Plex. I'm asking the viewers to give me Plex. That's a completely different thing, Brent. Dirk.
Wow.
Trust me. You put Brisk and Dirk next to each other, you
God.
won't be able to, tell the difference. Yeah.
I will be able to tell the difference, I'm sure. Yes. Yes.
You would absolutely be able to tell the difference.
Yes, it's like putting Soth and Brisk next to one another. You'll be able to tell the difference. One of them has gray hair, one of them has no hair.
Well, I mean, there's also the matter of Brisk has, I think, about 8 inches of height on me and about 4 on Soft. So, you know.
I don't know. I've never seen you.
I do want to clarify. I do have hair, just not on the top of my head.
Okay, fine. Back and butt hair does not count.
Look, I can see a bit of a shadow on the top of your head. If that's not hair, then what are you painting on the top of your head?
It's flocking.
I'm kind of preparing for the Macarial.
Shut the fuck up. I almost had it rounded perfectly a minute ago and actually smoothed it out, and I was going to go, yes, this is even better. I'm going to print this. And then it lost detail in other spots. It was like, fuck.
Also, Brisk, I'll land somewhere about £155. Thanks.
You're also like a full head smaller than me, so there's that.
Oh yeah, really?
Not quite.
See, now they're just head sizing.
Like I'll give you, I'll give you 4 inches solidly. A full head is like 7 inches.
So Sothrasil is
You've not got
almost
that.
ahead of Dirk.
Brisk, if I were only £130, I would literally be like.
No, he's
fucking
saying he's got
ascetic.
130
yeah,
pounds on you.
Oh right, okay. Wow. Fair enough, Brisk. Carry on.
The suit covers a lot of sins. It's like a beard.
The right tailoring will do a hell of a lot for
Hell
any day.
yes.
And we
Oh,
all know
definitely.
Brisk can afford those suits. Right, anyway, so now that we've
'Cause he's
ranted
earned
for
it.
a solid half hour about CCP fucking up their processes and not actually acknowledging that they fucked up their processes,
Hey, should we talk about the patch?
We could talk
we
about
can
that.
talk about the
Yeah.
patch. Yes.
Oh, that patch.
They did a fairly extensive balance patch this week. For anybody who hasn't
They
seen,
just-
there are patch notes.
I just kind of feel like
this
they
dropped
communicated
on
some
Tuesday.
aspects of that patch in a bit of a incorrect way.
I will give you the patch notes link.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh,
this
jump
one.
to showing it on screen as well.
Yep, there was a patch indeed.
So, I mean, CCP, when asking partners to cover the patch notes, have asked us not to just read the patch notes. We will discuss them, obviously, a little bit, and I would expect that the Meta Show will talk about them a little bit.
When do we ever just talk about?
First thing I want to throw out here.
When do we ever just read the patch notes and don't say anything or add anything to it? Like,
look,
crazy. Exactly.
Look, we're a talk show. We are.
That's what we do.
We kind of have this thing. Whereas a lot of other streamers will actually play the game and then they'll just like add the patch notes as an aside. So
I just want to get to the really important matter right away on these patch notes.
Yeah.
Is that previous patch notes grid new?
It's not new, but it's been a thing.
It's not new, but it is one of those things that CCP have only been doing for a little while, and in the course of 20 years, things CCP that have only been doing for a little while do.
On the actual patch things like this grid, yeah.
Yeah, right up at the top of the page.
Okay.
The whole bit of like
previous patch notes, yeah.
Well, you can figure out the difference by going to read these other things. So I'm going to start at the top of the page.
Okay, so apparently since Brisk has space mutants, we can talk about him now.
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about.
Oh yeah, because now he's an important space person.
Brisk.
Rest in peace there.
Brisk is space important. Yes, he was made co-director of Mini True last week. Horrendous.
Oh my God, Brisk, you poor bastard!
So now it is his purview
He is now
to be, heavy on the propaganda. Makes kind of sense, right?
I mean, we all know why he got that role.
In meetings with Dawn every week.
Well, Dawn's not in the meeting because Dawn's building a PC right now.
Hang on. Where's the picture?
We do have a picture. We do actually, real quick. There's a picture of what Dawn is putting into her PC.
Yeah, we are getting sidetracked while getting sidetracked.
Yes.
Look, we're allowing for the sidetracking.
Is it German?
I am slightly concerned about the fact that Dawn's picture has a high chair in the background.
Well, sometimes you just need to make sure you can actually reach the
Jesus. Oh God.
What? Clearly, I'm talking about putting the PC in the high chair. Weird.
We can see the VNAND SSD that Dawn was so excited about there on the far right.
Ryzen, yeah.
She was very. I was listening to Dawn be very excited about her VNAND SSD, and just like my face was in my hand.
The only part in this that, like, on first view that I don't like is the RAM.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of G-Skill. That's personal preference. Otherwise, I would say a solid build.
It's reasonably solid, yeah. I probably would have flipped the motherboard and the GPU producers if I were building this myself.
Nah, MSI is.
I'm not saying MSI. I'm not saying MSI are bad for boards. What I'm saying is I don't really like gigabyte GPUs.
Okay.
Gigabyte boards are fucking great, though.
No.
Yeah.
Gigabyte boards are always
in all my builds.
See, the low end gigabyte boards have this issue where they skimp on some detail that you don't first see, and then actually need. Like, I bought a gigabyte board once that didn't have a RAID controller, and I actually use a RAID. So yay!
What you're saying is,
well, what I got from that was
one instead of something valuable.
Because the essence of your complaint was they're low end boards.
Yes, it's a B650.
And that's a fair point. Like, you buy an X or a Z generally.
I can't remember which one I got actually. To be fair,
you want that.
I don't think I got a B.
Ability. You do want that
with
ability.
AMD. You don't really need that. You only
well, apparently you do.
And
you'll know I said you'll know I said
apparently, yeah. You only really need the higher end.
Need.
Yeah, you only want the higher end when you want to do some heavy overclocking. Which with a Ryzen, you might not actually need to do because you can just overclock the Infinity Fabric.
Is that?
Yeah, and that's a bit of a weird kind of halfway house of overclocking, but it does work for what most people need. That's how lot? Oh, she's only got a 1 terabyte Samsung NVMe though.
Yeah,
she's also got a regular SSD, and to be honest, for
she's probably
99,
going to be reusing her existing hard drives anyway.
Yeah, and for 99% of games, a regular SSD will be fast enough.
Oh, I mean, I know. I'm just, I'm I'm making this criticism as somebody who recently,
99% of games, you don't even need an SSD. Let's be honest.
Like, I moved from
they're nice, but you don't need them.
Yeah, okay.
I added an extra 8 terabytes to my my gaming system just towards the end of last year because I needed more storage space. So like
Have
1
you
terabyte,
thought?
not great.
Have you thought about like uninstalling something?
Have you thought about hot swap drives?
What's that?
Horrendous.
Yeah, fucking NAS.
That's why I'm building a new NAS system. Yeah.
A NAS or a DAS?
I'm building it as a NAS because it's also going to run a Home Assistant install as a separate VM.
Oh,
It's going to be interesting. Yeah.
what are you going to run it based on?
Clearly Jarvis.
The NAS or the Home Assistant?
Both.
Anyway.
The NAS.
How will we get into the state?
Anyway,
this is
back to the patch notes.
Yeah.
This is the patch notes.
Right. Patch.
Right. First thing I want to open up for commentary is the thing right at the top of patch notes, because if we don't get to it now, we'll not get to it at all. LP donations from characters to corporations and from corporations to other corporations has now been re-enabled.
Yay!
Finally.
You say finally, Bod. What makes this a big deal?
Because they disabled it in the first
Did they release
place.
it and then disable it like straight away?
Without a time frame for bringing it back?
What makes this a concern for players, Bod?
Hold on.
Because CCP
What, the bit about an
took away
LP
my
donation
shiny.
tax?
Excuse me while I go find my cricket and beat bar ghost over the head with it.
What's cricket?
I feel like
they took away LP
Bard's gonna
donations
have some fun in Prague.
because
really
it got abused like hell because there was no tax, right?
Bard, I'm gonna say something now that like half of it you Euros aren't gonna understand, but so just understand that I really wish Eric was here for this. Cricket is like if you took a real game like baseball and hit it in the head enough so that it thinks American football is, football.
Right. Anyway, so they re-enabled it without addressing the issue that led to it being disabled.
There was no issue for it to be disabled.
Are we surprised?
That you know of.
No, there genuinely was no issue.
Well, so
despite
what were they
were
claiming
claiming.
the issue was? Well, we're gonna dive into the Eve news.
Did they give you an actual explanation of the issue, or did they just say there was an issue?
There was an issue. They didn't fully elaborate. People thought it was RMT shit. Maybe an explanation was given, but
so it's entirely possible the issue was something that most players would never have seen, but it would have been something on their end.
So they specifically reference.
It's real hard to say there's no issue.
They specifically reference in the article that they put out on the, the headline that it was market and LP value.
No, that's not the one, Mac. No, because they disabled it before that.
When did they disable it?
Right before Havoc dropped. The only thing people could reasonably think was that they didn't want people pooling the LP to get the big ships quick.
2105. He said it was before Havoc dropped.
Let me bring it up.
Yeah, so Bod's
Okay.
got a point here. They did disable the transfer of LP to corporations before the Havoc patch. Now, the Havoc patch was the patch that introduced the Azariel, the new Angel Titan. Or I say new; it's been around for a couple months now. And there is one actually live in game, at least one. But yeah, basically, it seemed like CCP didn't want people to be able to put a bunch of alts into the Angel side of the insurgency faction warfare.
Right.
send all of their LP to the corporation, and then the corporation be able to buy an Azariel within like 5 days.
Now, here's the catch, Dirk, because they were so fucking blind about what they were doing. Corporation LP tax still existed in that time. So if you had an alt corp, you could tax your alts at 100% and be perfectly fine for yourself. It only stopped legitimate corps from sharing LP to get one as a corp thing. And then they were shocked that people were multi-boxing to get this thing really quick. I mean, I'm not on camera, so I can't do it, but insert shocked Pikachu meme here, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Anyway, can we get to the fun part of the
There's
patch
the
notes?
fun part.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to give people an opportunity to comment on a thing that was going to be glossed over if we didn't talk about it up front.
And now we
Because-
talked
So there we
about
go.
it for 10 minutes.
It has been.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
It has not been glossed over at this point. So, Soth, what would you really like to talk about? What's the fun part for you here?
I want to point out that I actually think these balance changes are good and actually needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, now he's talked about balance changes without describing what the balance changes are. What
Well,
changes?
So we
There's
have
a
some changes
bunch of
to
them.
entropic disintegrators, right? We've had some changes to some AT ships, which will affect basically almost nobody. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Some changes.
Hey, no, we should note that CCP have actually, in a balance pass, adjusted AT ships alongside other ships.
No, well, the thing is,
which is not a thing that really has
they
much
have
historical
changed
precedent.
it by increasing things, not by decreasing things. Which to everybody who has AT ships, they're not going to complain about an increase.
Whoa. This actually does come back to a slight. It's both a nerf and a buff at the same time for Triglavian ships.
Oh yeah.
But,
Right,
yeah,
but the
the
change
point
to
about
the
the AT ships is just that CCP have made a change to AT ships without like having to be prompted.
It's
or what they
Right,
would
well,
usually
they're-
historically do, which is do nothing.
But they've only it's at the same time though. It's a weapon system change that literally only affects 2 AT ships, so they can actually keep track of it.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Right.
So
It's not like they said, yeah. So how many AT ships do
Oh Jesus.
projectile weapons affect?
What
Fuck,
happens?
We'll
if
leave that for later.
What happens if we change a hack bonus?
Right. So this is. I'm not going to call this shocking. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that they've done it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just not going to call it shocking. That's all.
That's a fair point. I'm just saying that the precedent typically is that they wouldn't touch AT ships ever. So, hey.
I think the thing is I think people are fine about it because the entropic disintegrators were nerfed essentially, but they went and redressed that with the Hydra Entailment.
They were
kind of
nerfed.
Yeah.
They were
kind of
basically the damage curve has been changed a bit.
They were. Yes, they have been changed in a way that reflects the
as a
intention
ramp up
behind
for
them.
damage, like
we've all managed to talk around this without describing what's actually happened to these.
Base damage has been
it's on
reduced.
screen.
They have been nerfed as a quick way to do damage by reducing the starting damage, but because they still ramp up and ramp up a little quicker, it looks like.
Yeah, the multiplier is increased every cycle.
Yeah,
and the damage multiplier has been increased per cycle. So it starts off lower than what it was previously, but it ramps up to where it was.
But it gets back to where it was.
Is it a little higher?
No, it ends up higher than it was. It's a little higher than where it was.
Yeah.
By the time you get full ramp. So they don't nuke things very quickly early on.
Yeah.
Quite so much anymore. But
I don't know. It says they retain the same damage at max spool.
Once you actually, there's already a Python update for this patch, but once you actually plug it in, it does work out
Yeah,
at
but I'm
like
not downloading Python.
slightly more DPS overall. It's not. I'm not going to say it's a massive impact. It's not, like 100 DPS on a ship that was previously
Yes.
400 DPS and now 500 DPS. It's not that. It's like 10 DPS here or there, but it is slightly more at the end of it than it was
Yeah.
previously.
So now we come to the point of the changes of rapid light missile launchers, right?
Rapid light missile launchers are no longer a cruiser-based weapon.
Sorry,
That
what?
is literally the fact of these patches. Rapid light missiles have been removed as a cruiser-based weapon.
I'm sorry, what? How did I miss this reading list?
I think what this might prepare is them putting in new ships that use rapid light missile launchers as a bonus weapon system.
Well, like in the
For
same way
what?
that attack
At a cruiser level?
battleships or battle cruisers. Sorry.
We can't.
Well,
We've
where
already
else?
got tech-free cruisers, so we can't have something more there unless we're going Tech 4.
No, what I think what Seth is potentially getting at is that the other races might pick up destroyers and battle cruisers at some point. Which is a fair point. The other
But that won't be
sorry,
rapid
factions,
lights.
not races. But like,
That would be normal lights, wouldn't it? Not rapid lights.
if they do rapid lights on the battle,
Yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, I see.
But it's a weird one where, like, yeah, cruisers don't get rapid lights anymore, and even if they introduce new ships, they would have to introduce new cruisers with these specific, hull bonuses in order to allow for rapid lights as a base weapon system nowadays. And I say that, right. I have made a very broad statement about cruisers are no longer a cruiser-based... rapid lights are no longer a cruiser-based weapons. That's not...
They're just not as powerful on cruiser
because
platforms.
we do...
They're just not a weapon that cruiser
they're
hulls
not
get bonus.
bonused. And that's also not strictly true because Mordu's Legion are retaining their rapid light battle.
Yeah.
Their
For
rapid
roll
light
bonus.
bonus. Yeah. So, like, the Orthrus is still a rapid light bonus ship.
What
the healer
about,
is not, as I understand.
What about the Cyclone?
Well, we're talking about cruisers, not battle cruisers.
Right, but they're saying
the
combat
Cyclone
battle cruisers will still get their roll bonus.
Yeah, I'm just logging into Eve to double check on the Cyclone for you. But yeah, so it's one of those things where, like, a Caracal, which has been a mainstay of rapid light fleets forever, is no longer a rapid light hull.
And thank God.
That also kills its use outside of just PvP. Like, PvE, what is... I mean, if they're taking the bonus off a bunch of stuff, is the Gila getting hit?
You gotta look at what bonus is actually being removed, and that's the velocity.
So it's just range.
You get less range, which means kiting caracoles are harder to do, but like brawling caracoles are still a thing.
They still get their rate of fire.
It's mainly quick damage application and range.
Okay, this isn't as bad as I thought it was.
Is the main kind of thing.
And we got to be honest here. The Caracol was overperforming.
I mean, if you want to talk about overperforming hulls, then you also have to talk about, like, one of the other Caldari, the Caldari battlecruiser hull that
I will say,
people love all the time.
Aren just brought up the Cyclone. The Cyclone has no rapid light bonuses at all.
Aha!
He brings up this thing. It has no relevance to this conversation.
It's a missile-based combat battlecruiser. That's what I was thinking.
The range on a Caracal.
So which combat battlecruisers do have? Note that roll bonuses from ships will still apply, blah, blah, blah. Which combat battlecruisers do have bonuses for rapid lights?
I'm just checking into that now.
Just
None of the
you would expect.
Caldari.
As far as I know, none of them.
None of the Minmatar. None of the Amar and the Galente aren't gonna have one.
Just check, because that'd be hilarious.
Do the
if the Brutic
Garista,
suddenly has one, despite having no launchers.
the Alligator does not have a light missile or a rapid light missile bonus either. Literally, the answer is none of them at this point, because I can't find a single battle cruiser that has any of those rapid light bonuses.
So roll bonuses from ships will still apply, but apparently not the ships they're listing.
Apparently. CCP,
So
bravo. Well done.
So that
Are you
line is
surprised?
basically nonsense. Note that roll bonus for ships will still apply, just like with
well,
Do
no.
any of the just double check check the
Just double check the
Mordu's ships,
Mordus.
okay? Just double check.
The Mordus, right? Okay. The Orthrus has a 10% bonus to Warp Scrambler and Warp Disruptor maximum range from its Galente cruiser bonus. It has a 15% bonus to missile damage from its Caldari cruiser bonus.
Okay. So
it has a roll bonus, 2 roll bonuses,
right.
200% to missile damage,
Okay.
and a 50% penalty to missile flight time.
So it doesn't have missile velocity.
So it also
bonus.
has no roll bonus
Specifically.
for rapid light missiles.
So that's not the remaining per level range bonuses. Doesn't.
No, there's no there's per level warp scram and warp disruptor range.
Okay.
And
Any
level
other?
15% bonus to missile damage. That's it.
Okay.
And then it has the roll bonuses for its flight time so that it can get extra range.
Velocity.
It has no specific rapid light missile bonuses. So the Mordus ships also not see, because
wait, you said
the Barghest doesn't have any bonuses.
You said it has a bonus to flight
velocity
time?
and velocity and a reduction in flight time.
Okay, so it has a bonus to velocity for all missiles.
For all missiles, 200% bonus to missile velocity, 50% penalty to missile flight time. So it gets there in half the time of like a Cerberus. So
it goes exactly as far.
Well, it goes further because it's got the bonus to missile velocity.
All right.
Right.
The missile goes further, it arrives faster, but it does not matter if it's a rapid light missile, a light missile, or a heavy missile.
Right.
So there is no roll bonus in the game, basically, as I look through all of the various bits in EVE Online in the client right now with the live patch that actually have a roll bonus for rapid light missiles at all. But CCB say that the roll bonuses will still apply.
So I would just like to point out, at a moment like this, that CCP has asked that we not just read the patch.
And this is our analysis.
So
Yeah.
this is your fault, CCP.
Did you really want us taking a closer look
You
at
asked for it.
I'm just having fun here. I'm putting stuff in 3D printing software while laughing at you guys realizing there's no roll bonus left.
I feel like there might be an edge
will
case,
still
the
apply.
most edge of edge cases.
I think what they're trying to say. I think what they're trying to say is that roll bonuses from ships with missile roll bonuses will still apply to rapid light missiles, as opposed to,
right. So
removing all remaining range per level bonuses.
That bonus to missile damage that the Orthrus gets will still apply to light missiles launched from a rapid light launcher rather than just a light launcher.
And the bonus to missile velocity will still
but
apply to rapid light launchers.
As opposed to the light launchers or the heavy launchers.
Right, but
because obviously the rapid light launcher is a very specific type of module that's affected by these sorts of changes without affecting other
I feel like we're
modules.
getting into that pedantic territory again.
If they did not, well, yeah, but see, that's just it. Like,
Are we being?
matters.
The question is, are we being
think
pedantic
that
or are we
I
being,
think that's
detail orientated?
no. I think that in this case, what we're doing is we're understanding the pedantry they're trying to avoid. Like, if they hadn't included that line, okay, and then
You mean we are displaying the pedantry they were trying to avoid?
no,
No,
because we're
like,
not.
literally.
We're
He's getting to a
displaying
point here.
we're displaying a different kind of pedantry that illuminates the pedantry they wanted to avoid. Because what they wanted to avoid was saying we removed all remaining per level range bonuses to rapid light missiles, and then somebody coming back going, but it still gets the velocity bonus here, and that's still a rapid light. Blah, blah, blah. So they put that line in that says the roll bonuses still apply, and yeah, because nerds. That's why.
Marauders.
Let's move on.
What if they got
Marauders.
some marauders that we can rib them for?
God.
Right. The
The roll
Marauders one
bonuses
is
for
weird to
Marauders
me.
will still apply.
Wait, Marauders have roll bonuses? I'm sure they probably do. I haven't looked in a while.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
Bastion
yeah,
modules.
Let me just take a quick look at the Varga here. It gets a Marauders bonus, but yeah, so there is a per skill
Okay,
level
the reduction in
Marauders.
warp speed is is something because it does allow, depending on if you're in a certain area of space, a slight additional time for certain things to occur, like for example bombs, right? And that's a very important thing when it comes to dealing with battleships, right? So the time it takes for a ship to land is kind of based on their warp speed.
Yeah, but it's kind of a normal thing for Tech 2 ships to warp faster than their Tech 1 counterparts. So this is a weird precedent they're setting.
I mean, it's a split in the... What I would say, actually, is that this is a split in the type of Tech 2 ship. And so they're basically saying Marauders should warp at the same speed. It should be noted here that Black Ops battleship still have a 3.5 AU a second warp speed. So some Tech 2 battleships are still warping faster than their Tech 1 and faction counter.
I mean, they also increased the cloak speed velocity roll bonus, which means the Minmatar blobs will now go even faster cloaked than uncloaked.
Fantastic.
Which is just hilarious.
It's not getting slowed down by these pesky, photons.
Like,
the Panther is slowly getting to the point where by 2027 it will go faster.
Oh, could you believe?
It might go faster cloaked with the MWD off than uncloaked with it on.
That'd be mad.
That would be
madness.
hilarious.
That way lies madness. But a lot of fun.
But honestly, I can see some logical consistency in the Marauders warping slower.
Yeah, they're big. Yeah,
hey, they're big old tanky.
They're built for brawling.
We are being told by Laszlo in Twitch chat that everyone in Wormholes is changing their doctrines because of this patch.
No one's surprised.
Apparently, CCP completely changed wormhole fights with the precursor.
Wormhole fights are always on an absolute knife edge.
We haven't gotten to the Nighthawk nerf.
We haven't gotten that.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
If you can point out that it's the trigs, if you can point out in Twitch chat that it's the trigs and the Nighthawk,
really changing it.
You may have had an issue with the trigs and the Nighthawks as it happens.
Are you saying that these targeted nerfs to certain groups in EVE are actually working? Because I think that's what you're saying there.
Now the real thing
CCP
though
managed
is
to get something right.
Unbelievable.
the real thing, the really shocking thing though is that in fact now they're moving from Trigs and Nighthawks entirely over to Panthers.
Yeah. I mean, who gives a damn about wormhole mass requirements?
Yeah.
Panthers all the way. All right, so since we kind of
Yes, Phil.
stumbled into the Nighthawks, what has happened
Well,
to the
field
command
ships,
ships?
yeah, there we go.
I'm still mad about it. We were promised a full rework of command ships back when they changed how links work.
Look, Soft.
And it
They
still
changed
hasn't
that
happened.
they changed that in 2015.
Yes.
You are not
Yeah, it's
getting
been 9
the
years.
I'm kind of getting that
Forget
by
Been 8 to
now.
9 years at
already.
this point.
Wait, hold it. I think you guys are being way too pessimistic.
What? Us?
You still believe?
Pessimistic?
We might get command ship rework by 2030.
After all, it only took from, let's see, 2008 till last year to get the faction warfare overhaul. So they've got time.
It's still on the list in that.
They've still got another 6 years.
In their JIRA board, they still have a note to rework the command ships, and it will move.
No. I figured this out. It's gonna be 6 years because what they've realized is this has been waiting for quite some time. We should probably pay that lip service before we deprioritize it like a motherfucker. Like that's what's going on.
Well, what's going to happen is you just have to get someone on the CSM whose entire freaking campaign is about command ships.
Yeah.
You know, the way RCA went in.
So Soft, when are you running for CSM?
No, that wouldn't be me. My campaign is clearly make angels great again.
Well, no, your campaign is fix CCP's processes, but you know the angels can be a side.
Now
that could be your light-hearted, thing to sort of change the conversation when you've hammered them down on their processes so much. You can be like, we could talk about light things like command ship changes, and be like,
Soth has no. The issue is Soth has 3 different priorities, and therefore he wouldn't know how to prioritize his 3 different priorities.
Isn't that how priorities work?
Look, Soth, you're being entirely too logical for CCP at this point.
Anyway,
please calm down.
50% more range on command
this is lovely, yeah,
ships.
Very nice, especially for fast, like more mobile doctrines, because the more mobile doctrines generally tend to get stretched out quite a lot more, and you tend to lose the roll bonuses if people aren't really on the ball, which they really kind of should be, but like it's this additional thing.
And then you wind up losing the script bonus.
Yeah, it does just make everything worse. So
yeah. Anyway, nice change. We don't have to debate about that.
Right. No, that's a good change. That's
the increased armor repair bonus on the Astarte.
That's just a null point. Like, I mean, I guess.
Look, most people.
It's a nice thing for small gang, I guess.
Yes, but most people in small gang use the EOS over the Astarte, as far as I know. This might be
in the top end with no damage downside. So
yeah. So this may be a way of CCP trying to push the Astarte more into the small gang field.
Yeah, I mean, especially since they're also getting the Astarte is also getting the range bonus.
I mean, they say it's.
I mean, they know in their patch note. Like, the Astarte is currently the least used command ship across the board. It struggles to compete with the Brutix Navy issue, which makes a hell of a lot of sense. The Brutix Navy issue has long been a staple of solo and small gang battle cruiser level stuff.
Right.
Then they had the Deimos buffs that they made like a while back, which actually, the Astarte costs more, but you get the same amount of damage out of the Astarte than you do out of the Deimos, and the Deimos moves faster. It has better rep bonuses. It's a bit of a like
Yeah, but the Deimos doesn't have links.
the Deimos doesn't have links, but
Right.
if you're going for
And the
something that you
Brutix,
can use in
the
small
Brutix
gang,
apparently.
would you not potentially go for a command destroyer rather than a command ship sometime? If you're looking at like Deimos level stuff versus Brutix Navy issue and potentially even like Megatron level stuff.
Right,
Like
but I mean, if you're just saying, well, why don't you just use a command destroyer? That's
no. My point is that CCP are recognizing that they've made changes to other ships that have kind of sort of hurt the Astarte's
Yeah.
potential niche. And so they're making this armor repair bonus. I mean, it's a bit of a meh bonus buff, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to make a massive amount of difference. But they are at least recognizing that they've made changes that have hurt the Astarte as a consequence.
Yeah, I personally think they need to split command ships. They need to have for each race, one command ship that is tanky and does a fleet support role. So not a lot of damage, but it is just focused on that support. And then a second version that's a combat version that is more focused on, pushing out DPS on active repair.
What Soft is talking about is a formalization of the difference between
kind of in the same way that
yeah,
that CCP kind of created combat and assault kind of stuff, right?
And I will say like that is basically if we're talking about command ships and what Soft is talking about, formalizing one is really tanky and gives great fleet support, and then the other is not quite so tanky, not quite so like great with the boosts, but also does a ton of damage. The Amar is the only place that we actually see that kind of differentiation. When you talk about the Galente and you talk about the Astarte versus the Myrmidon gets a huge drone bonus and also has like a bunch of high slots because it's a drone ship to get some great bonuses. The Astarte has less buff. Like, for example, every fit that I make for an EOS right now has 4 links in it. Like it can do a hell of a lot. It's a very flexible ship. When it comes to the Astarte, it only gets 2 links, but it's got those railguns, and those railguns are not they're not anything to sneer at. They will reach out and do some damage. Then you've got, when it comes to the Caldari, you've got the Vulture. Again, those medium rails, or even blasters if you really want to do something silly. And it gets those shield and info commands, so it's got the range, it's got the tank. The Nighthawk reaches out with missiles pretty effectively. It's a bit slow, but other than it being slow, it's a solid, tanky, boosty, damage-dealing ship.
That
and
will
then
now
you've
do
got
more damage.
Yeah.
So will now do more damage.
Will
it do more damage? I thought
there's a
they
rate of
nerfed
fire
that one.
bonus.
They nerfed
And
it.
they
Yes.
nerfed the Nighthawk.
It'll
Per
do more
volley it
damage
will,
per
but
volley.
less speed.
Higher alpha, less damage over time. Okay, well,
It will only do more damage with kinetic missiles.
and still less damage over time, just higher
It's a
alpha.
Caldari ship. Are you really loading anything else?
But yeah, like the Claymore as well. It falls into that kinda tanky. Kinda does reach out and do some damage, and then the Sleipnir is just lol. So like, coming back to Soft's idea of differentiating them more specifically and breaking them out into fleet command and what's the
sort of
other
assault
version?
slash
Like they use field command and they use some other subgroup name and I forget what it is. But like yeah, they could do with actually breaking these out into technical subgroups.
Yeah. And there we go, CCP. We did the command ship rework for you.
God, haven't we done this before?
It's almost like
About,
creating
like, 5
a
years ago.
predefined role type allows you to, hone those ships into a nice area for people to use.
But yeah, so the Astarte gets a bit of a meh buff. Gets a buff, but it's not gonna make any significant change other than in the solo / very small gang 3 to 5 player kind of level. I don't think, because it's just a buff to local armor repairs.
Sorry, which one are we talking about?
Like,
the Astarte?
local armor repairs are.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We're coming back to the Astarte where we got to where we decided to split off into talking about a command ship rework. Coming back to the starting point, because I will go off on tangents, but we will come back and we will
let
finish
CCP
the point.
Sort of like simmer on the idea of assault powered, like a command ship kind of paradigms inside of the command ship sort of group for like 6 years. It's fine.
Like they have done.
Go off on tangents.
I mean, they've done this with other ships, right? Look at recons.
Yeah, I mean, the recons do still get covered under the recon ship, kind of overall overarching class, but they are very distinct.
Oh yeah,
very distinct comparatively.
Anyway, the Nighthawk.
Nighthawk got some.
What happens to the Nighthawk?
I mean,
it's kinda a nerf, kinda a buff, depending on who you ask. But overall, it's a nerf.
Yeah.
I am going to come back to our friend Laszlo, who says CCP completely changed wormhole fights and everyone's changing their doctrine. And I'm going to reference CCP's description of why they're making the Nighthawk change.
Oh, really?
In the first sentence, they say, because the Nighthawk is overperforming in wormhole space and becoming oppressive.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
they are at least like telling you that they're shafting you while they're shafting you.
Which, let's be honest here, wormholers have been complaining about Marauders and kinda about the Nighthawk for a while now, so they have literally been asking for it.
I mean, they should know by now not to open their mouths if they want things to want to be able to use things. Wow. I'm reminded of a point from back in, I think it was 2016 FanFest, when CCP Rise said that, well, the wormholers are just collateral damage. Now you're the focus of the damage. Do you like it better?
Well, they should be able to, because they can counter it with kinetic damage mods.
So I've got a question for you guys, because obviously I haven't been doing anything for a while now. But is the
you are lazy, Orendis. This
is the Nighthawk something that's been seeing a lot of use in like large scale fleet combat?
So the thing is, when it comes to sort of wormhole space, like it's a reduction in the amount of people, so you need they always need to get like a max performance out of stuff.
No, I understand that. I understand that. That's I get that. My point is, CCP has gone from making changes to null where wormholes are collateral damage to making changes to wormholes.
It's because there's a CSMer there that can put their point across very well and very effectively, and has a lot of presence. So
Anyway.
Yes, which isn't.
Oh God, we have heard so much about the Execra Navy issue in the last.
Money is never a balancing.
Never.
Right. So, I've been told this ends up being like, what was it, 65 DPS less?
You
wait.
Oh dear.
I have no idea where I was going with that.
It's not as much as it looks like at first glance, going from 25 bonus to 20% per level of Galactic Cruiser skill. It is still a nerf.
That's 25% reduction.
A significant one. And it's well deserved, right? Because it was definitely buffed a bit too much by CCP.
It really was.
You can
seriously.
see this mostly in the tournament space where
God,
pretty much
everybody's been
everyone is
pitching.
using the ENI unless you put like a lot of points extra on it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Soft talks about the tournament scene. This year for the Anger Games, for those who don't know, we increased our points cap to 150 instead of the typical 100. We kind of tried to rebalance the points for classes, whole classes, in amongst that, and then we used that extra breathing room that we had to give specific points to specific hulls and be a bit more granular. The Execra Navy issue took potentially one of the biggest point upticks compared to its class that anything took this year, because its usage historically in our tournament and other tournaments had been just insane since this buff. So we were trying to like give it some points worthy of, hey, it's very fast. It has mid slots to like be silly with at various points, and it does a hell of a lot of damage even with rail. You know, the Execra Navy issue is a ship that has a 546 fitting
Yeah, can do a lot with that.
setup, and it's only got 4 gun slots. So 4 guns, a utility high, 4 mid slots that you don't need because all of your tank, or that you don't need for tank because all of your tank is in your low slot. Like, and fitting room to spare. The Execra Navy issue has been very powerful for a very long time. Not just in the tournament scene, because the tournament scene does translate over a little bit to the small gang kind of setup. But like it's been pretty dominant in faction warfare as well, and this is very well deserved. I think this is like a small change. It's not a huge amount to the DPS or the alpha overall, but it is enough that this is potentially not going to be crippling to it as well, right? Like,
We probably should
it'll still be used,
move on.
it's just not overpowering.
We got 10 minutes and we still got things to talk about.
Christ.
So
We've run out of time.
Bellicose is gonna.
Moving on.
I guess these changes are just to make it a little bit more relevant, a little more capable. You know, a velocity increase and a power grid increase, which is good.
I'm not sure that's
whether it's going to
gonna
actually be enough to make some fits viable. I don't know.
No, but these are nothing changes for the Bellicose.
Fair enough.
I'm deadly serious. When you compare the Bellicose to its other, you know, CCP likes to do their subgroups, and the Bellicose is an E-War cruiser that compares against, for example, the Black.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Or it compares against the Celestis,
the Arbitrator,
and in the Amar space, it compares against the Arbitrator. All of those other ships,
and are very,
have
very strong
specific,
at it.
Like module bonuses that are very effective. The Bellicose has a target painter bonus to compare to jams or damps or nukes.
Yeah,
this gives it a little bit extra survivability, I guess, because you can fit a little bit more tank. It moves a bit faster, but it's a nothing burger.
If they want the Bellicose to actually shine, they would have to give it a web bonus, which would be fitting for Minmatar.
It would make a lot of sense, and actually, it would make the Bellicose much more of a stepping stone into the Hugin and the Rapier.
Yeah.
Because you'd be training your web skills to use the Bellicose, and then suddenly those web skills make a huge difference in
makes sense.
The higher end ships. Also, hi Tam. Good to see you.
And then we've got the Firetel increase.
I'm not sure that Firetail is needed. Like the Firetail is already a pretty capable and fun ship. I don't know why it's not used as much, because guys, go fly Firetail. It's a hell of a lot of fun. It's super fast.
No, guys. Keep underperforming in the Firetail. Don't use it. You guys need to keep using the other ships, because I love using a Firetail, and frankly, if they're gonna keep buffing it, yeah.
But this is an inconsequential buff, right? It's a 5% bonus to fall off for weapon system on a ship that's not really being used because it's a tackle ship, right?
That's
no one
right.
wants to
That's
do
right.
damage in it.
Exactly. This is not a really consequential buff. So I'm holding out for a consequential buff.
Wait, you mean you're not going to start fitting autocannons to your Firetail after this buff, Arendis?
What do you mean start?
Exactly. But this is what CCP seems to think. Like, here's your projectile fall-off buff, and this is to boost the Firetail's versatility, especially for autocannon setup.
Right.
Like, everyone was already fitting autocannons to the
What else do you
Firetail
need?
because that was
Yeah.
Okay.
you're there trying
You're
to
there.
tackle.
You're there to
You're
tackle.
not
And to be
artillery
fair,
guns.
like unless you're being like heavily webbed, like your main the main issue that you need to deal with are drones coming after you. So yeah, autocannon is always the way.
But CCP seems to think that, hey, the Firetail.
Are they thinking it's like a
the
wolf?
slicer?
Are they thinking that like people should be flying it, or people have been flying the Firetail like a wolf, like with arties all the time? Like,
I think this comes back to what we've just been talking about in terms of CCP's thoughts on.
well, you know. So
which
this is the weird
ships
thing,
have
right?
subgroups, but also all ships in the subgroup should perform the same way-ish, sort of. They should have their quirks, but they should all be basically the same ship. And that's not the case.
Before we go
with,
away from like ship balance kind of things, like one of the things that kind of like really confused me is in the like initial Havoc update, LP trading and ship balance kind of actual thing with the article where they describe kind of why they're doing certain changes. The weird kind of thing is they seem to have actually they seem to want to communicate that these changes are down to the various different people talking about how certain things have been affected by certain faction warfare kind of stuff have been affected by the imbalance, right? They say the essence of these changes lies in addressing the dominance of certain ships, such as the Execura Navy issue, Osprey Navy issue, and the Caracal, which have historically overshadowed their counterparts, etc., etc. And this is all in a section entitled "Factional Warfare Elevated," and it's like this has got nothing to do with factional warfare. Like these, like most of these changes really.
Yeah, it does.
Well, most of these changes don't, but
maybe
the ones
those
they call
specific
out, they
ones.
That they're being.
But I wouldn't consider they're the main.
A couple of other balance changes into a
I wouldn't consider I wouldn't consider them to be the main issue. But like, what I have issue with this is
no. This is CCP. Like
what I have issue with is these are issues that are only really apparently, according to CCP, affecting factional warfare. But I don't think it. But if you're going that route with that thought process, then maybe it's not the balance of those ships. Maybe it's the balance of faction warfare, or the mechanics of faction warfare. If it's not a balance issue in other areas of the game. If it is, then don't just say, "Oh, it's because of factional warfare." Say it's a game-wide issue.
So whoa.
Right?
I think we need to slow down here a little bit. Max.
Slow down. Did you look at the clock?
Fuck off with the clock. All right. I think he needs to slow down with his talk about just faction warfare, because if we come back to Nighthawk, CCP specifically state that the Nighthawk is overperforming in wormhole space, right? Like, this is a balance pass that's primarily designed to, quote unquote, fix their faction warfare changes. Faction warfare has been CCP's focus for the last fucking 15 months or something.
You know, that was something that was
so
needed.
they need to show that they've made changes and they're willing to follow up. Is what they're doing. But they're also rolling in other changes to other areas of space such that they can kind of go, well, it's not just a faction warfare update. It's an everything update. It is a broader balance pass, but primarily we're trying to adjust and make sure that faction warfare is in a fair state.
That's
I love CCP for like,
and I'd love it if they communicated a bit better.
But also, do we really believe that?
I mean, I
wait, what? CCP communication? Did we not spend 40 minutes on that earlier on?
Yeah, but that was just a failure in general communication on that particular front. But like, this is, I mean, my concern is like, you know, so long as it's just a failure of communication, not a failure of how they're approaching balance in general. Like, because, you know, if they're approaching balance in general in terms of, oh well, this is a little bit oppressive in this area of space, let's nerf it, and could be completely oblivious to the fact that like nerfing that ship will affect the balance of how that ship performs against other ships in other areas of space. Like, what I'm saying is, if there's just an issue in that area of space, or just an issue with that area of gameplay in that particular kind of form, maybe it's something to do with that particular area, that particular, you know, gameplay, and not the ship that people are using. If you know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm trying to say. If it's just a communication issue, then that's fine.
Anyway,
that's a fair point.
But I just want to point out
from Twitch chat I want to address. So. First up is Laszlo talking about, instead of nerfing ships, how about working on seaguling? CCP could work on seaguling by implementing incursion mechanics on other aspects of the game, because incursion mechanics work on the fleet that does the most damage, gets the fleet specifically that does the most damage gets the rewards. They've already solved that problem. They just haven't recognized that they've already solved that problem. Also, Commander Starstream, will Moonsolve be back on the menu? Does anybody here really want CCP in their current iteration to turn their eyes on?
I think what
it's happening though.
We're due a Sovster rework, but do we really want CCP?
I think we all know that like it's going to be some form of like what's going on in faction warfare at the moment. Like, but I think what we would hope is that CCP kind of irons out all the bugs and stuff in faction warfare and all the gameplay issues in faction warfare before they decide to go and utilize that system as the basis for a new nullsec solve system, right? We can wish, we can hope, we can pray that is the case. But
anyway, there's going to be a
games.
meta show in an hour.
There is.
I mean, yeah, probably.
We should probably do one last word.
Can we rewind time? I don't think we can. So, like, we best make this brief.
I can't do one last word.
Oh, okay.
I have two things that I want to point out, but
because you like waffling about, yes.
Just hurry up! Jesus Christ!
Go for it, dude.
Right, fine. I will start with the one last thing today. There are two things that I want to point out from the patch notes recently that we have kind of skimmed over, or not skimmed over, we just didn't get to. The first is a module change, which means that it's now possible to pre-overheat modules while under the effects of a jump cloak. If you jump through a gate or an answerblex or something like that, and you jump into an offensive scenario, you can now select your modules to overheat before you decloak and start fighting whoever it is to try and get back to the gate or whatever. This is like actually a cool change that CCP have made, and I think it's going to be good for a lot of players. The second thing is one of the gameplay fixes, the bug fixes, which means that it's now possible to import fits for the avatar. Apparently, CCP somewhere along the line broke importing in-game fits for the avatar and didn't tell anyone.
Oh, that must have been must have been annoying.
Really well done, buddies.
Why am I not shocked?
All right, so I've done my one last thing in like a minute and a half. The rest
go
of
for
you
it.
fuck.
Horrendous. Okay, Soth, you were kind of aggravated.
Goggles.
Like you wanted something. You wanted to say something. What did you want to say?
No, I just wanted us to
Oh, okay.
finish up because
I mean,
we're kind
yeah,
of
but
late.
like, you know, 3 minutes.
It's 3 minutes.
I feel like
We've done
I think he's
So
I
far.
think he's got something scheduled that he needs to be at. Oh,
Maybe?
crap. Okay, fair enough.
No,
Bye, guys.
I don't.
Soft doesn't have things
But-
on Friday on Saturday.
Yes, it is Saturday.
Right?
I don't know what to say. I mean,
Hmm.
Soph, you're gonna get your Macarial. Would you like some small Amar ships to go with it?
I mean, sure, why not?
Like, I'm trying to do, the mini scale stuff for that board game. I'm trying to work some out now.
Will they incur additional delays?
If they work. No,
They already
because these
are
I
right
don't-
now.
Damn it. No, they won't, because I don't need to break these into pieces. They can print in one.
I wouldn't say no to some of these things if they're actually like half.
I got to print them to see, but yeah, I'm going to try it.
Like, let me know if you need more film, and I'll just like order some to send to you because these sound actually really
Mhm.
interesting to have like on the shelf somewhere.
On the
These
face
ones
of
I'm going to do
gold.
in resin.
Yeah, well, fuck it, I'll send you some resin. Fine.
Fair? It's fair.
Like,
Anyway, we should probably leave it there as we are overrunning by 5.
McLeod, no.
Okay. Well,
Well,
okay.
McLeod, what's
My
your
one
one
last
last
thing
thing? The rest is
is
gonna go last.
I would like to just, highlight something that has been fairly highlighted in r/eve. A proposal from Jack Ascari for us to have consumable items to be put onto the action bar so that we can use it rather than having to go through menus and go through windows in order to actually utilize it. Be really nice.
so this is basically like
Yeah,
give us
hotkey
a
for
hotkey
drugs
for
and stuff like that.
That's
Yeah, because we
really
don't have.
described as a hotkey for
essentially.
drugs.
It'd be nice.
We don't have it, and we should. But yeah, I love the phrasing "hotkey for drugs." It's basically what I'm saying there. And finally, Horrendous, what's your one last thing?
One
You
last
want to
word.
go last?
Bye.
That's not the one last word because I am actually going to go and point out that we are still
yes.
raising money for StackUp. There's a number of people who weren't here at the start when we talked about our donation drive. StackUp is a charitable organization that is raising money to help veterans and people with traumatic experiences due to
Mhm.
conflicts around the world. They do this by, getting games to people, getting gaming systems to people. They also provide a whole lot of help with mental health discussions, community, providing people with a space that they feel they can belong to, which helps a hell of a lot in preventing suicide and other mental health issues. So if you do want to donate, we do have a donation drive going through the end of the month. That's Thursday, the 29th of February. But it is a really good cause, and it supports
But
people
also
like
people
us
who
are gamers and are doing
Yeah.
difficult things around the world. So it's a really good cause. If you want to donate, please do. Other than that, final point. Good night.
That about do us? Oh, yeah. I mean, exactly. Anyway, guys, take care. And we've got Meta Show in 53 minutes. So see you here soon. Take care, guys. Bye.